victim.
Tim McIndoe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'm delighted to pick up exactly on the point that Ms Logie has just finished on, because I can assure her that this government is not blaming the victim at all, but we are absolutely, passionately determined to sort out the problem, the very real problem that this country has had for far too long, of long-term welfare dependency. And that isn't a question of beneficiary bashing or attacking that person. It is about saying, we're going to put some support structures around you. We are going to intervene in ways that are going to be effective. That's what Future Focus is all about, and that's what the reform bill that is before the House at the moment is all about. And it was very interesting, Mr. Chair, during the recess that we've just had, to be on the Select Committee that heard some of the submissions from people on this bill. I have to say that some made some points that we've naturally taken note of, but quite a number showed that they don't really understand this point, or they are so ideologically blinded by their party affiliation that they refuse to look at the fact that welfare dependency is an absolute scourge on this society. Long-term welfare dependency causes huge suffering in communities, particularly the communities which are most deprived in our country, and I would have thought that they would have cheered and welcomed strongly the government's initiatives to do something about that. The wraparound services that we are putting around our young people are long overdue. I'm very proud to be a part of a government that is addressing that problem. While Ms Ardern was speaking before Ms Logie, she made the extraordinary comment that we should fix the economy. Well, as Mr Hayes replied at the time, that is exactly what this government has spent the best part of 3.5 years now doing. Why? Because the Labor government made such a hash of things that the Labor government has to take responsibility for the position we find ourselves in. And let's not for a moment allow the spin doctors on the other side of the House to fool anybody into thinking that it's somehow a creation of this government. Because at a time when the Dutch government has collapsed, the Irish are in trouble, the Portuguese are in trouble, Greece is in deep trouble, what we see is around the world a huge problem with global recession, and this is a government that is really focused with a terrific plan to do something about it, and the results are clear. That is why we've taken tough decisions. That is why we are so determined to balancing the books. That is why we will get this government, the country, back into surplus. And when we get this country back into surplus, following on the 9 years of ineptitude of Mr Goff and his colleagues, then we'll have choices to be able to do the things that the whole country wants. But in the meantime, while we're getting there, we can intervene for those who are troubled by this long-term welfare dependency. And the work that the Ministry of Social Development is doing, ably led by the Honourable Paula Bennett, and gee, she deserves a pat on the back for a fantastic job that she is doing. This particular focus of our government is one of the most important things that the whole country is firmly behind. And I made the point when I was speaking on the reform bill that I believe it's not only one of the most important challenges facing this particular parliament, but in fact this particular generation of politicians. There aren't many issues more important than this than we will face during whatever time we are given to serve in this House. And I am absolutely 100% behind the welfare reform bill to ensure that we can help particularly young people from going down the path of long-term welfare dependency, because all the evidence tells us that if they drop out of school without qualifications and they go on to a benefit at the age of 18 or even younger, that within several years they'll still be on it. That can't be acceptable. I'm amazed that there is a single member of this House who is happy that that is the case. And I'm absolutely proud of the fact that we on this side of the House are determined to change that. And change it we will, because by giving incentives for going on a budgeting course, doing a parenting course, learning all of those life skills that are so vital for a young person. Oh, Mr Twyford scoffs at that. You don't want young people to know how to budget? Unbelievable that Mr Twyford would take that position, and he shakes his head. Mr Twyford doesn't want young people to learn how to budget. Does he not want young people to know how to parent? Because what could be more important than being able to look after a child, to raise a baby, to become a healthy young person? I believe that that's an absolutely vital skill, and we can't just expect it to be something that is understood instinctively. In many cases, it has to be taught. and so we will. And we're putting in place incentives. That's not knocking, that's not discriminating, we're putting in place incentives.
The question is that I'm taking the vote. The question is that the report of the Social Services Committee on the 2010-11 financial review of the Ministry of Social Development be noted. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. Contrary no, the ayes have it. I understand the next financial review members wish to debate is the financial review of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. Will members please turn to the